If you're in the top 10%, you should be looking for the top 10%.
I want women to stop being delusional and thinking, oh, because I make 6 figures, I deserve somebody that makes 6 figures.
You supposed to be locked in on your morals, your principles, your values, your standards, and you supposed to be able to create your own peace. Okay. Welcome back, players. As always, we on a mission to gamify this life. Today, we're gonna be tapping into some relationship mayhem with the discussion about, does a high value woman making 6 figures and over have the same options as a high value man making 6 figures or over? Let's tap into this clip and see where this discussion takes us.
Every single woman is coming on there talking about they want a dude making over 6 figures. Every single woman.
What's the percentage of men that make over 6 figures? I feel like you know those numbers.
1%.
It's like
40?
No,
it's like
1%.
20%.
Like 10% at the most.
Oh, okay.
Like 10% of men make
low.
over 6 figures, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And to y'all point earlier, that is the majority of people, unless only the people calling her shows are not the regular person every day.
17%. You're right. 20%. 17%.
Well, are these women making over that?
All right, players, so let's make sure we staying on track. So the women, they want these guys who making 6 figures and above, which is only 17% of people in America, right? But really that number is a lot smaller. Once you start factoring and stacking these elements like, okay, are they out of shape or are they a sloppy poppy? Do they have children? What's their personality and their emotional state like? Can you connect with them? So once you start stacking these things, you realize that your options for this high value male making over 6 figures, it goes from 17% all the way down to maybe the 5 or 1 percentile, which in return makes your option pool a lot smaller. But let's keep going.
Are these women like, do
They
they have
claim
their
they are.
careers?
They claim every woman that comes on her show says they're making over 6 figures and they want a man to match their income.
Well, I mean, if it is true that they're making that, do you think that's fair for them to ask for?
No.
You don't think it's fair for women to ask for a man that's making what they make?
Is it fair for a man to ask a woman to make what she make? Is it fair for?
I feel like it's different.
Is it fair for a man to say, "Oh, I'm making $500,000 a year. I need a woman to make $500,000 a year"?
I think it's different. I think that
I think that word fair was a trigger. You know, that's why sometimes when you're communicating about some of these topics, the words you use can be triggers that just kind of throw the whole conversation off. So is it fair for somebody to want somebody making the same amount of money as them? The person has every right to decide who they want to date, right? And what's fair to them. But that's not where the problem lies. Let's see if they get into it. If they don't get into it, I'm gonna show you guys where the problem lies in the difference between the man and the woman that's high value making over these 6 figures.
Expectation of men socially is to
Again,
assume
women only want equality when it benefits them.
Oh my God, that's just not true.
It is true.
How is that true?
I don't, because a man don't care about how much a woman makes.
Historically, men have a head start. So a man wanting me, that's true. Men have a financial head start over women. So the idea of a man being like, if I make $500,000, I expect you to make $500,000 is absolutely unhinged. That doesn't make sense. And then also those same men that make $500,000 are not going to want typically a woman that makes $500,000 because she's going to be just as busy as him. And when is he going to get his he time?
Right.
When's he gonna get his he time? So like that just wouldn't happen. I just don't see that happening where a man is like, oh, you have to make half of what I make.
But why a woman making $100,000? Why does a man have to make what she makes?
Okay, this is kind of.
I mean, like
I don't think $100,000 is that much money. I don't think $100,000 is that much money to ask your man to make if you're making that much money.
Why not?
Because if he's making 80, then that's fine. $100,000 is a lot of money, but like when you
The
think
median-
about what
the
your
median-
expenses are,
90% of the country makes $32,000 a year.
that's true. I didn't say.
So you're looking for the top 10%.
And because it's the hot topic, now everybody gets polarized by these topics and they start taking on these characteristics. Hey, I want a 6-figure nigga, right? Not understanding that that pool is small, and what happened is your options start getting smaller and smaller and smaller, that you wind up being alone at the end of life and don't really see how that shit happened. And the reason you wind up alone is because the pool is so small. So you might be meeting a good guy. He might connect with you. But because he's not in his tax bracket, because he's not making that 6 figures, you wind up pushing him to the side and don't even give him the time of day.
If you're in the top 10%, you should be looking for the top 10%. How's that not fair?
Because the top 10% of men have all the options. Why would he pick you making $100,000 when he could pick anybody?
She also has options.
The choice.
She don't have options.
I think
How does she not have options?
Because men don't care about their money. If she's beautiful, she has options, yes. If she's beautiful, she has options, yes.
People with money have options.
No.
Yes.
And then we got to tap into hypergamy. Women are hypergamy, like meaning that they want somebody to provide more for them. But the problem happens when a woman is making so much money that, like I said before, her options slim down. So this is what they mean. It's not that she don't have no options. Her options is a lot smaller. Her dating pool is smaller because of the mindset and this concept of, okay, if I'm making 6 figures, he need to be making 6 figures and up. But then now that guy, he has the pick of the litter because everybody wants him. And then he has the choice of, yeah, I can get a woman over here who's making 6 figures and I can get this girl over here working at Starbucks. But the woman, she's not thinking about men. They look at the beauty, they look at the attractiveness of the woman, her personality. How does she add to his peace? Not that she brings him peace. I hate hearing that shit as well. Oh, the woman gotta bring me peace. Nah, brother, you supposed to be locked in on your morals, your principles, your values, your standards, and you supposed to be able to create your own peace. So the woman is not bringing you peace. She's there to not disrupt the peace. Not
when it comes to dating.
I think that they do.
As far as a woman dating,
I think it's saying that men have more options when they're making that amount than women who are making that amount who want to find a guy who's making the same amount.
Right.
But it's like,
because the woman is looking for the top 10% of men. Mm-hmm. The man is looking at the 100% of women. The woman making $100,000, she's only focused on the men making $100,000 and up. The top 10.
So just by mathematics alone, that number is slimmer. So it's not the same.
10%.
But why should she not be?
Because she's limiting her options at that point.
As she should if she's. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say we're kind of throwing that blanket statement on all women that make that amount. You know what I mean? That's not the case. Like there's a lot of women I feel that are making that amount who are probably dating somebody who is probably making under them. But also, like, if you are a guy that's dating somebody who's making that, I feel like you have to really kind of step up in a lot of different ways. Like you got to make sure, you just have to make sure that you're like trying your best to provide as much as you can to that person. Because there is a dynamic there. Like you say it, like there's a different dynamic between you and your girl. You know what I mean? Like there is that kind of going back to the patriarchy thing. There is like a systemic thing there of like the man takes care of the woman and like the woman stays home and cleans.
Yeah, but y'all fought for this. Y'all fought for equality. Y'all fought to go in the workplace and to make as much money as possible. So now, when women are the most graduated and becoming CEOs more often, you're going to have to start dating down, as y'all would say.
So do you want that to happen? You want like men and women to basically switch roles?
No, I want women to stop being delusional.
What it feels like to me is that you want to humble women. That's what it sounds like, that you want to humble them. No. It does sound like that.
I want women to stop being delusional and thinking, oh, because I make 6 figures, I deserve somebody that makes 6 figures.
I'm sorry,
men don't walk around and say, oh, I make 6 figures, so I deserve.
Because it's not the same dynamic. I just explained that. Just because a man...
they getting heated. But let me break something down, make it a little clearer. See, what he's saying about being delusional, meaning that the percent winds up being so fucking low about what you want to have in your life that you wind up not having anything in your life. And a lot of these women are wanting these high value men making 6 figures. If they're making 6 figures, not really asking themselves, what does that really mean? All right? Because for you to make 6 figures, you have to be on your values, on your principles, on your standards, meaning that you a certain type of individual. You like to have shit your way. You like to manage life a certain way. Okay, it's kind of like if you had a 9 to 5, it's your boss there, and then you have employees. You got your manager and you got your employees. So now if you have 2 alphas in there, Sometimes that can cause conflict because each person wants things to be their way and they don't want to submit to the other person. And there is where the conflict begins. You see, life has this thing called polarity, right? Where you have opposite ends of the same pole. So where you have alphas, you have betas. So what happens is you have this high value woman making 6 figures where she's like an alpha. She's aggressive. She wants things her way. But then at the same time, she wants somebody who's just as aggressive and alpha as her, but then it causes conflict. In opposed to the high value 6-figure dude, he might be the alpha dude, but he's looking for the beta energy. You know, he's not looking for something as masculine as he is. So this is why he's saying, why wouldn't the woman actually date down? And there's where the problem lies. Sometimes we need that opposite there to create some kind of balance. So maybe that alpha woman actually needs some kind of beta male, right? And they're out there. You might need that dude who, he don't mind staying home. He don't mind watching the children. He don't mind cooking. He don't mind cleaning. He has no problem with that. In this way, you can still be in your role of manager. You can still be running the ship because you want to be the captain. But then now if the guy, he's insecure about how much money you making, then automatically that starts a problem there. And so that guy who doesn't mind doing that stuff, he won't have a problem with the amount of money you're making. But now if you go for that alpha dude who's making a little bit less than you, because you know it's degrees to this shit. She might be high on that alpha scale and he might be a little bit lower, right? But then y'all in relationship and he starts feeling insecure about how much money you making. You know, he feels insecure about being in the house, trying to take care of shit in the house, cooking and cleaning and some weird shit like that. And then now you have a problem on your hand. And let's say, suppose you get this guy who is making over 6 figures. He's gonna want things his way. And his percent of tolerance level might be even lower. Why? Because his options are spread so far. So if you don't act right, you might have to pack your bags, right? So sometimes we asking for a lot of things, but we don't realize how this situation actually really goes. And a lot of these women haven't really encountered a guy who's making 6 figures or more. And because of that, they really don't mentally or emotionally understand what they're getting themselves into. Because that 6-figure earner, they got certain values, principles, and standards. Certain shit they will not tolerate. And if you disrupting that man's peace or his energy, you're gonna be gone with the wind, see?
If a man makes 6 figures, he can choose to date a woman that makes 6 figures. It's also his choice to date a woman that makes less than 6 figures. Just as it is a woman's choice to do the same.
That's like a dude making $32,000 a year saying, I deserve to be with a supermodel. You don't deserve nothing. You don't deserve to be with no supermodel. Just like the woman making 6 figures don't deserve to be with a man making 6 figures.
I just feel like if I make pretty good money. Okay. So say that I make $120,000 a year, $100,000 a year, okay, right? I don't think I could date a guy that made $50,000 a year because I have an expectation. Basically, if I make $100,000 a year and my man is making less than me, I would feel disrespected if that same man expected me to be submissive to him in all of the ways that are traditional.
No, he can't expect that from you.
Yeah.
So then, okay, I'm not saying that he doesn't have a purpose or that he doesn't have any utility, but how is he going to make up that difference of what I'm making being a provider as a woman versus what he's doing as a man?
Because he still could take care of you. Maybe not financially, but he could still protect you. He could still make sure the house is, he could be the house husband.
I think that resentment.
He could be the house husband.
But I also think that there is like resentments could easily start to build in that situation because like I
couldn't handle a house husband.
Because if like the woman has like a very specific like lifestyle, like she's like, I got money to go on trips. I got money to do all this stuff. And you can't like keep up with that. And you're like, I don't have money to go on these trips. I don't have money.
Why can't she pay for his trips?
I think it gets a little
sticky. It's just dodgy. It just gets
dodgy.
It gets a wee bit dodgy.
Yeah.
It gets a wee bit dodgy.
But why? Y'all wanted this position. Y'all wanted to be alphas. Y'all wanted to be the head of the food chain. Y'all wanted to make $100,000 a year.
Well, no, but they want
to be CEOs.
They want somebody who's matching that energy.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Like
But somebody that's matching that energy don't want you. He wants the woman that's going to be submissive.
That's not true, too. That's you throwing another blanket statement on the guys that do make that.
I know these guys personally.
Who?
I know these guys that make a lot of money. They don't want a woman making a lot of money because when they say we got to get up and go, they want to get up and go. They don't want the chick making $100,000 that got to go to the office. They don't want the chick that is the CEO of whatever business, because when they want to get up and go, they want to get up and go.
It's kind of like what I said earlier. It's like you got two managers in the same place, two bosses, two alphas, two lions in the same kingdom. You get what I'm saying? They don't want to be going head to head with somebody. Like you said, whatever they saying, they the shot caller. They want to be able to move that way. And of course, and on paper, it sound good. Like, yes, you want some, as a female, you want somebody to match your financial bracket. You want things to basically, like he was saying, you want things to be equal, but then it starts becoming a delusional space because your options wind up being so slim. But then if you do get that pick of the litter, you wind up bumping into a lot of fucking issues.
There's a lot of people, just like very successful people who are married to other very like actors, or like people, a lot of people in the film business, you know, like there's a lot of directors who marry producers, because like you typically meet and marry the people that you work with.
Yep.
So it's like, you know, you're going to be married to these people who are, if you're successful and you're around all these successful women, you're going to marry probably one of those successful women. Yeah,
exactly. He has a point there, but this is where a problem happens too. He wants to bring up the entertainment industry. And what do we see a lot happen in the entertainment industry? Yes, people wind up getting together, you know, they wind up becoming married and stuff, but by proximity, you being around certain areas, like a lot of people meet their person, their wife, the person they cheat with, you know, the other woman, the other man, where? At your workplace. All right. So now if you going through a high traffic area, you're dealing with a lot of dudes or some of these other things, and both of y'all are busy. We see it all the time. This person's in the studio. Next thing you know, they cheating over there. You get what I'm saying? This person, they're doing an acting scene over here, and they start making out and getting with this person. Now these two people split and he's with this new actor. So you have these options now. You can move the way you want to move. Money magnetizes that feeling of I am the shit. I can have what I want to have. You know, if this don't work out, I can move on.
You know what I mean?
Because
like,
where do you think that they're meeting these extremely less successful women as it pertains to their level of success?
Starbucks, Target.
Oh my God.
Walmart.
So you're talking about the same
Starbucks
hoes
girls.
type. I'm not saying that they're
Starbucks
hoes,
girls.
but you're talking about the men who are like out there looking for somebody to save.
No,
And that's
because
a totally different dynamic.
a man could go to Starbucks and see a beautiful woman and fall in love with her. A woman making $100,000 or $200,000 a year is not going to go to Starbucks and look at the Starbucks worker. He might be a good dude. He might be genuine. He might love the shit out of you. He might worship the ground you walk on. But a woman is not going to look at the dude pushing the broom at Starbucks and be like, oh, I like him.
And that's a big issue right there as well. Because when you start really listening to a lot of these podcasts or people talking, they're looking for people with superficial things. You know, so the main thing you always hear out their mouth is money, 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 money. Right? But what happened to the connection? What happened to the love? You know, see, we are humans. We've been on this earth for thousands of years. And the sad part is we don't look at history. It's just like if you go to like geriatric centers, you see old people and they on their deathbed, right? And they start talking about the regrets that they have in life. It ain't none of this shit they talking about. You know, people wish they had more quality relationships. They had a love of their life, somebody that they connected with. Because once you start having a lot of money, you realize like a lot of that shit don't matter, bro. You buy a car here, buy a car there, you move here, you travel there. That shit come and go. But having a fucking quality person by your side, someone who's your friend, someone you can love on, someone you can speak about life with and travel, you know what I'm saying? Like travel through time with. You know, a lot of people don't get that because they're chasing superficial shit. They're chasing materialistic shit. You're looking for this six-figure earner and you're not even questioning yourself like, how do I connect with this person? What's our relationship like? What's this person parenting skills like? Are they a solid, loyal person? What are their values and their principles? Does that shit match with mine? Because if it don't, regardless of how much they make, you're going to have an issue.
Because the dynamic of love for women is different. I think that men have this idea, especially when they're like really good guys, I love you and that love is enough. Women know that love is not enough. Love is just not enough. You have to have money in order to be able to sustain our lifestyle. That's a part of how women feel safe.
A lot of people want to live above their means. They want to live that lifestyle. They want to travel the world. They want like you said earlier, women don't want that. Women do want that. Women do want the nice luxury bags.
I didn't say they don't want that.
Right. But you said earlier, most women don't want that. Most women do want that. Most women want that lifestyle. Most women want to be a stay-at-home wife and then complain about being a stay-at-home wife.
I don't know, because that's the thing. That's why there's more like successful women nowadays, is because more of them are not really drifting towards that. You know, they're not really like going towards that lifestyle, towards the stay-at-home lifestyle. They're going towards like careers and things. And
they become 40, single, lonely, no kids.
But that's how these guys that you're talking about are going to end up. Like these guys who are making this like crazy amount of money and they're going for these beautiful like Instagram models. They're going to end up lonely too, because they're not.
They got the pick of the litter. They're not going to be. They might not be married. They might not be married.
Who do you think they would choose to marry? Is like a successful businesswoman, or like some girl who just like is some ditzy like Instagram model?
Some girl that's some ditzy Instagram models. That's why.
It's crazy, but there is some truth to that. Like once you start understanding the different values in a male and the different values in a female, you start seeing they're a lot different. With women, the male is going after you because of your beauty, your youthfulness, you know what I mean? Things of that nature. So that deteriorates with age. This is why you start seeing a lot of older guys with younger girls. But for guys, they can get older and they can still have, if they have money and their financial state right, they can still have these different women. It might not be love, but they still might have somebody to actually be there. In opposed to sometimes the woman, she's aging, her beauty is fading, her body is changing. Then she's at a certain age, and then there's no guys for her that really want to be there. Nobody wants to take her seriously or be up under her. So now that starts creating a big issue in her life. And this is what he's saying, that you wind up chasing these superficial things and can mess around and end up alone. And as humans, nobody wants to be alone. So it is a tricky situation. And this is why women making over 6 figures have to recalibrate their concept of what a relationship is, what goes into it, what are the gives, what are the takes, what are the standards, what are the principles. Because if you're just basing things off the pocket, you need to stop it. Because in reality, there's so many other things that actually matter in a relationship than just the money. It's just like the human anatomy. It takes so many different moving pieces in order for us to function properly. But if you just focus on one, your relationship is probably just going to be done. Stay sturdy, my people.